Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Titan from Titans of CNC. It is 11 a.m. and we're going live right here on our Facebook group. So we got a few technical things going on right now, but I think we're about to lay it down. All right, so I'm excited. All right, so yesterday I did a test and I wanted to test out the live feature on Facebook, and I got to tell you, I am hooked. I'm hooked. It was awesome. All right. So I actually talked a lot about the academy. I talked a lot about philosophy, right? I talked a lot about why I was so dedicated to lifting up this trade, right? You know, so today I just want to I want to touch a little bit on it, but then I'm going to open it up actually for questions. All right. So I got some of my team members over here. And so I got Billy, I got Russell, and I have Joel, and they are monitoring this feed, and then they're going to tell me the questions as they actually come up, and we're just going to do it live, which is like super cool, right? So one thing that I want to make clear is that for me, this is not about money, all right? I've taken huge risks to actually go on a path that nobody else has gone on, right? I went through '08. I lost everything. I mean everything. Like returning your cars, losing your house, laying off 40 employees, like losing everything, right? And through miraculous things and just having grit and determination and going through it, I saved my company. I jumped up into aerospace, where I've been doing crazy parts. My team and I have been doing crazy parts ever since we came into 2010, right? Titanium, Inconel, Monel. You know, I was always up about programming. I was always excited about programming. I loved that you make a part, you look at the finishes, you look at the contours, you know, the thin walls, and everybody's like, oh, it's impossible. And then you just kiss it and it just comes out so beautiful. I love making those parts, and I love that when people see something they think is impossible, and then you deliver it to spec, and they're like, this is like amazing workmanship. And I'm like, that's right, right? But what happened was, after you lay off your family members, after you go through such a struggle, you know, my whole who I am changed. Because now it wasn't about being cocky and just being like, oh, we're running the fastest, we're the best, we're this, and we're going to outcompete everybody. Now I actually changed because I had a heart for the industry, because I had seen 50,000 companies close. I had seen all these jobs shipped away. I had talked to my mayor and my city manager, and I tried to solve every single problem, and I got on my knees a million times and just was like, how do I fix the problem? How do I actually save my company, you know? And because of all of that, and coming out and then rebuilding, rehiring, doing it again, I just got a passion to just say, you know what? All these companies, like, I'm literally at my desk, and these guys might be watching, but there's a CNC shop across the street. I actually don't know that guy. I know he knows me because people have come in and said that. There's people down the street, they all have CNC machines. I'm in a business park. These guys are all in their walls, confined, head down, fighting over scraps, you know, competing, right? And that's what I saw coming out. And that's where my passion comes from, is saying, not that, oh, that it is like all finished, that manufacturing is done, but we can actually do better. That knowledge is not being shared, right? Companies are not talking to each other, and we're losing our work, and we're fighting over what's left. And instead, we need to fight for those jobs to come back. We need to have passion in this industry. We need to take our crew, inject them with passion and determination and grit, and have a competitive spirit to actually be great in manufacturing. We need to lift them up, right? And then we need to look at all the old ways that we're machining and where people are trying to save money and they're running tools that are not efficient, but they don't know any better. We need to basically use the internet, use social media, use YouTube, use the TV show, all of that to basically show processes, to show techniques, cutting techniques, and show them that, it used to take 10 hours to cut titanium, but now you cut it in less than an hour because of the type of cutters that were invented, because of the tool paths, the way the CAD/CAM works, right? So it's been an evolution. I started out like with the TV show, everybody said it was impossible. Like they said it was impossible to build a company. And I actually built the TV show with my team, and we did 3 seasons, right? Traveled all over to all these schools and stuff, talked to all these amazing teachers. They're all heroes. And I saw a massive problem. Everybody was talking about the skills gap. Everybody was saying that everybody's retiring and the young people are not engaging. But when I looked at the school, I realized like there is no national curriculum. There's no curriculum that everybody can share to actually teach and have a standard, right? And if there is a standard, it's like so prehistoric. It's simple things on simple parts, and they're only running a couple of parts. So knowing that you cannot become an expert running a few parts, I looked at the situation. And right as I was looking at the situation, the prison system came in and actually asked me for my help to actually help build a CNC school. They had already put millions of dollars into the prison system, but they had asked me, and I thought, you know what an amazing opportunity where I can actually build a school. I'm not in the business of building schools, but I can build a school. This school can be done on TV. We can put it up online, the whole video series, everything online, so everybody can see how to build a school. Then we can build a curriculum for that school and prove, instead of arguing with everybody, we can prove that basically there is a different philosophy, there's a different style of teaching that works. And that means that we can actually teach people on CNC in like 10% of the time, so that we can get through like multi-axis, three-axis parts and stuff, multi-axis contouring and these parts and stuff, and learn the trade, and then basically get into 5-axis, get into cell systems, get into automation, get into live tooling, get into the things that we actually need to teach our young people, because that is what we need to compete. There's a lot of people on YouTube, there's a lot of people that are out there showing tool paths and stuff, because CAD/CAM is actually pretty easy now. But the problem is everybody can make a part, but how do you make it efficiently? How do you outcompete the people down the street, how do you outcompete people, make it so efficient and deliver it on time so you can actually receive a check and make payroll, right? That's what we need to do. And in order to do that, we have to lift up our workforce. We have to lift up our skills. And guess what? It all works, right? So we figured out a solution to the problem, the biggest problem I've ever seen, which is the skills gap, which is motivating our machine shops, right? It's hard because when you're an owner of a machine shop, nobody else is going to risk everything like you risk. That's your life, that's your family, that's your kids, college tuition. So you'll put in the 20-hour days, but there's not a lot of people who don't have ownership that'll put that in, right? And a lot of people have kind of like lost their way into mediocrity, right? So all of a sudden now, what we've done is we've taken the TV show, we put it online so you can learn how to build a school. We took the curriculum, we put it online. We made this massive website called Titans of CNC Academy. It's actually academy.titansofcnc.com, and basically made it free so everybody can use it, right? So everybody can use it. We have 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds, we have all these kids and stuff. They're all using it. They're learning how to design parts. They're learning how to program parts. They're actually learning how to CNC machine parts, right? I talked about the philosophy with that. I'm not going to talk about it now, but you can go back to my video yesterday, and I talked about the philosophy of how to actually teach, right? And when you harness that philosophy of how we're actually teaching the trade, guess what? your employees, the kids, everybody, they all get excited about it, right? They all get excited about it because they're cutting chips, because they're holding a part that they created from start, from a blank CAD screen to a finished CNC part. They're holding it in their hands, and it gives them confidence, right? So I also, yesterday talked about John Shaffer, okay? So John Shaffer is a member of this group. You guys all know him. Just an amazing man. Like, he's a salt of the earth type of guy that just gives himself. You know, he doesn't have the massive company, he doesn't have all the things, but he's just a genuinely good person. And I didn't know him, but I actually saw basically when he's working at another shop, and he actually started his own school, his own machine shop at night, where he was basically had his machine and he was delivering parts for the first time. He basically came out and said, hey, you know, I just delivered my first CNC parts from my machine. I'm putting in the work, putting in the time, and this gets me one step closer to actually fulfilling my dream of teaching CNC machining and stuff. And all of a sudden, Small Groups was born. It was born right there. It wasn't this grand idea. It was all of a sudden, I watched and saw that story play out, and all of a sudden it clicked that we have CNC machines in all these shops that need inspiration, they need training, they need to motivate their guys, right? We have all these people that we want to bring into the trade, right? We want to bring them into the trade, and everybody on the outside is telling these guys, like, roadblock, don't come into the trade, go to college, go to here, go to there, like, go spend all these years to do it, right? And then guess what's happening? Those guys are actually coming in and they're not getting any money because they're not being taught what they're supposed to be taught, what we need them to be taught to actually help us make payroll and be a pillar, right? So there's some amazing schools. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of frustration because kids want to make 20-something bucks an hour coming out of college, and they just haven't hit that button enough. They're not fast, they're not efficient, and that's what we need, all right? So basically, now small groups happen, right? From John, he inspired, and I was just like, let's do small groups, the academy small groups. This is going to be where a group is formed in an actual machine shop. The shop can actually open its doors and actually have people from the community, maybe like, 5, 10 people per machine, and basically they can come into the machine shop and they can actually learn by doing the Titan Academy group, the Titan Academy projects, right? So every week you do like a project, or you take a couple weeks to do a project and you go through the series, right? Why did this never happen before? It didn't happen before because people didn't have access to free CAD/CAM, right? So now everybody can download Fusion 360 for free and basically as a student, and they can actually program and design these parts at home. They can learn it, right? One thing about Fusion 360, if you have Mastercam, if you have Delcam, if you have something else, you can use that also. This just gives us a foundation for everyone to have it, right? And CAD/CAM systems, there are amazing CAD/CAM systems out there. And depending on the type of work you do and what you do, it determines what type of system you should have, right? So I'm not dogging any other system. I'm just saying Fusion is an amazing system and it's free for everybody. So let's actually build a platform around that for now and actually give everybody an opportunity, right? And then now Haas is like, there's all these schools and all these people have Haas machines. If you have a Mazak or you have a Mori or you have an Okuma or something, you can use those machines. Just follow the same instructions. There's a little bit differences. It's like a Chevy or a Ford, right? Some people say, oh, this is a beast or whatever. Like, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm just saying it's a CNC machine. You can make the same parts, okay? So now you can have a shop, can have an open group, and people can come in and learn the trade without going to college. They can actually come in and learn the trade, and they'll learn the techniques and things necessary to actually run a CNC machine, take apart from beginning to end, okay? Companies can also have a closed group, okay? So they actually use the academy to actually do in-house training, okay? To all these guys who are like button pushers, or they feel like they're just deburring, or they're in the office and they love manufacturing, they've never had an opportunity because they don't have the experience. They can come in on a Thursday night, a Tuesday night, whatever you choose, on a Saturday morning and actually have a 2 or 3 hour class. They can be part of something where they learn how to do it, right? I think every company in this industry should have their salespeople in a class like this, learning how to make parts so that they get it, right? So they get it. So that's it. We're doing small groups, academy groups. I've been talking. Guess what? Guess what I found out? We have almost 90 machine shops. 90 machine shops have signed up in just a few weeks. We have classes that are already happening. We have people who have never known CNC that are actually learning and designing right now. And I talked to John Shaffer just a couple months ago. All right. So, you know me, I can go. So let me shut up right now. Let me turn to my boy Russell over here and see if he has any questions, because I can see things going up, but I can't actually read them. All right. I just want to tell, man, Facebook group, you guys are awesome, amazing. You guys are so good. We're one big family. All right, Russell, give me some.
Sure. From Chris, we have, are you going to do, or do you have a tooling kit for the mill available?
All right, so Chris says, do you have a tooling kit for the mill? So let me explain something. One of the cool things about the academy is, again, I'm not selling tools, but I have great partners like Kennametal, right? Kennametal, Autodesk, different people, they're great partners who actually allow me to actually do what I do and make it all free, right? So they're lifting up the industry and stuff. So when what we did in solving the problems for the academy to drop costs for schools and everybody is a couple things. One, we standardized material. So a lot of my 5-axis stuff is all made out of 3-inch diameter until we get to the aerospace 5-axis parts. Then it gets bigger because we're doing legit parts, so you can actually go and actually learn this stuff and go get work with Virgin or SpaceX or Blue or somebody, right? But our smaller parts are 3-inch diameter. The building blocks, our main 3-axis is 1x2 standard. All 10 parts are made from 1x2 standard aluminum. The rocket or lathe, where you take all these pieces, look at those pieces. Each one has a different technique, everything, and you put it together and it basically teaches you how to run all kinds of parts through this little series. That's all made out of 1-inch standard aluminum, okay? So, tooling. There's a million tools. That's the whole thing. This industry, everybody oh, they need to learn geometry. They need to learn this. They need to learn that. And they need to go sit in class and they need to learn inspection. They need to learn. I'm just look, this industry is amazing and it's huge and you will never, ever learn everything. I'm learning all the time, right? But what I'm doing is I'm basically taking guys who don't know the industry. I'm treating them like I'm the dad, I'm the brother, I'm the uncle, I'm the trusted person, and I'm just going to teach you. So the first couple times as we go through here, just do what I tell you to do. Just follow my lead, and I will not lead you wrong, right? So basically, instead of 1,000 tools on the first part, we just do 5. Base mill, end mill, chamfer, drill, tap, right? And we show a process that each time you do the part, base mill, end mill, chamfer, drill, tap. And then we add in a key cutter, then we add in engraving, then we add in this and that, and we do islands and we do mirror, right? But there's a process that we teach. Don't worry about 1,000 pieces. I'm going to take a list of 16 tools, right? Face mills, different end mills, different standardized tools, drills, taps, all that. And we're going to make a list of 16 tools. Then we're going to make it so you can take these 16 tools and you can put it into the CAD/CAM system And basically while you're watching the tutorials and I'm like, okay, go grab face mill, you actually go into Titan Building Blocks and grab my exact tool and bring it over. Well, Kennametal actually came up with this crazy idea and they're like, Titan, what if we actually, since you're using our tools, why don't we actually make a kit? And I'm like, that is crazy, right? And then I'm thinking like, oh, they might go over the top and like, charge schools because schools don't have a lot of money and stuff. And they're like, look, like that's not what we're about. We're about this industry. So we're gonna make a kit and we're basically going to take all the tools, big face mills, all that, and we're basically going to make it at 50% price. And then we're gonna add some incentives for our distributors and different things to just keep the price low. So anybody who's trying to learn CNC can get these kits and they can actually use these kits, which are the exact tools in the CAD/CAM system that you're using and everything. So that was a long question, but I wanted to make sure that you guys understand how awesome that is, right? So the kits come out on the 13th. So we have a kit right now for the Rocket series, which has all the lathe tooling. So if you're running other parts, you can get this kit and you can basically, it has all your tooling and you get it at a discount, right? So you get it for the Rocket series and then for the Mill series is the building blocks. You get this kit. Now, guess what? I'm not trying to make you guys spend a huge amount of money and stuff, right? So if you already have a face mill and you have these end mills and you have the drills and stuff, when we jump to 5-axis, I'm programming off of that. I'm programming off of that. We're using the same face mill, the same end mill, the same everything. And now we're just gonna say, okay, we're gonna add in a few more tools, maybe a few extended holders and stuff, right? And so you might have like a little kit of 3 or 4 tools that is in addition to this one, so you don't have to buy a huge amount, right? So kits come out on December 13th. That was a long answer, but I got a lot to say because a lot of people, they don't know. So I want to make sure everybody gets it, all right? You got another one?
Yes, we do. From Kevin, will you be creating guidelines for our Facebook pages?
Will you be
creating guidelines for our Facebook pages?
Okay, so I'll try to get through this one. So Kevin said, will you be creating guidelines for Facebook pages? Okay, so let me be very, dude, this is awesome. Dude, I'm just like, I get so excited, right? Like, I'm telling you, you know how something happens and you're just like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, this is literally it. I truly believe small groups is the biggest thing that's ever happened besides my faith and my family and everything. I feel like it's been a journey and I feel like this is it, right? I believe that small groups is going to change our industry. It's going to bring people in. It's going to take everybody's skills to the highest level. People are like, well, you're training people in other countries. You're doing this. Yeah. If we can do it here, they can do it there. But guess what? We have an $800 billion deficit, which is dropping, by the way, of trade. And you just bring a portion of that. We don't have the workers to actually complete it. So what we need to do is just focus on doing our work here in America, keeping the jobs here, solving problems for our customers. And if you're in Australia or the UK or wherever you're at, you guys can use the same principles to actually keep the work there. Because guess what? In Australia, they lost their work to China also. You know what I mean? China's smart. They know manufacturing's like, right? So I'm a roundabout answering this question. So because I believe this thing's so cool, we came up with like this idea. How do you network, right? So the Academy groups they're not employees of mine, but how do we connect? How do we connect so we're like one massive network, one massive group, right? So all of a sudden it was like, you know what? We have a Facebook group. These guys will actually create their own Facebook groups, right? And we'll name them all the exact same thing. So it'll be Academy, small group, #1. That's John Shaffer because he was the very first person. He was my first guy, right? So Academy small group number 1. And then all of a sudden you'll have Academy small group number 2, right? Academy small group number 3. 60, we have like 90 groups now, 90 groups. So all of a sudden you're like 56, you're 90, you're 23, and anybody looking at this whole network that is all connected will see and have pride like, man, you were like 5th out of like 730 groups. You were like, you got on the ground floor, man. Like, what's this done? Man, we're like running 5 axes. We weren't even running 5 axes. We're doing this, we're doing that. You know what I mean? And it's just, it becomes this massive thing and stuff. So basically, we're helping name the groups, and then every single person who has a group, we're gonna give you a background image that is just a cool render of parts from the Academy. It's gonna say Titans of CNC, and then you guys already say Academy group, and it's gonna be like a stamp, like boom, 1, 23, 86, 90, whatever your group is, boom, and then you'll put it up. And then every time, if you go from group to group to group, it'll have the same look, but it'll have a different number. And then in the description down here, usually what I'm saying is like, it's like Dayton, Ohio, right? Hayward, California. It's like, boom, and it's like, this is a closed group for such and such and such. So I think that's basically what he's getting at. So we can actually help you with that. I'd say you can actually look at John's number 1 group and how he's doing it and kind of copy it. And then we will just keep sending information. If you're a host, we're giving you information. And basically that information is going to teach you how to do all of this stuff. If you signed up for a group and you have not, we just sent some more out today. If you have not started getting a bunch of emails explaining the process and how to do it, then please like PM me, get me on the group, let me know so that I can give my team your information and they will go directly and make it happen, okay? So I'm actually looking, when I go small group and I go search on Facebook, I'll see certain people that are like maybe doing it wrong or need some adjustments or don't have the numbers, and then I'm actually going in and searching those guys out and saying, hey man, do you know your number? Do you know this? Do you know that? Hey, what if we try this? And that's it, all right? So next.
Actually, group number 7 just confirmed that they are receiving emails.
Cool, group number 7, lucky 7.
Michael.
Michael, huh?
Michael Hogarty.
Hogarty? Michael Hogarty. Did I say that right? You know what's the cool thing? Is like, I've actually been talking to a lot of people in the group, and you think like it's online, right? It's online, and you're thinking that, you know, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Internet dating and stuff. And I talk to these people, I meet everybody, and everybody is so genuine. Everybody's so nice. And that's what you realize about this trade is the best people in the world, like just amazing, hardworking, blue collar people that make things with their hands, and then we're all family, we're all connected. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing you all together. Yesterday, I talked about philosophy. I talked about how and why we teach the way we do, and how, I'm telling you, challenge me. Like, I will talk to any expert and I will explain the system and how we're doing it, and not after every single phone call with the biggest people, with standing in front of everybody, everybody's like, that is awesome. A lot of people might talk about it because they don't understand it, but all of a sudden, or threatened by it. I'm a job shop owner, right? I've gone through the valleys, and people are gonna be like, oh, you know, that guy, this and that. Test me, talk to me. Like, I have been through it. I'm a CNC programmer. I've been in this game for 20 years. I've been programming for 20 years. I make crazy parts. I deal with engineers and companies. I've had to go cold call. I've had to put up walls and run air and put machines on the floor. I've built many companies and stuff. I got a lot of experience. I'm not saying anything like, hey, I'm the greatest. I'm just saying that I have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm willing to give that to you. You know what I mean? So I know that one guy was just like, hey, how do you become a CNC expert? And that was kind of like a general question. I don't know how serious it was, but I'll answer that. Dedication, hard work, grit, determination, asking questions, humbling yourself, going after it, making friends with the tool reps, making friends with the CAD people, getting online, searching for the best things out there, keeping your mind open, going to IMTS and different shows, talking to people, right? And just basically grabbing that knowledge, dissecting it, throwing out the bad, and then straight up through repetition, making parts every single day, going after what everybody else does not want to run. Challenge yourself. Don't go after the easy parts. And if you get easy parts, then run 1,000,000 of them, right? Try to figure out how, okay, we're opening the door and running 2 parts. How do we basically run 60 parts so I can do something else, make the company money so I deserve more money, right? Or say like, okay, let's do all these fixtures, get those machines running. Now I'm going to run a 5-axis part. Let me actually, when I used to opt this thing out, let me run all 11 sides at one time and basically figure out how to run it fast. What tools can get through that metal, clean it all up? How do you relax it? How do you kiss it? How do you make this part, right? Through repetition. So how do I become a CNC expert? Through dedication, grit, determination, through repetition, and through working with the right companies, right? So let's, like boxing. Larry Holmes was the sparring partner of Muhammad Ali for years. Nobody knew him, right? But Muhammad Ali would whoop up on Larry Holmes, right? So Larry Holmes had to make adjustments, go home and make adjustments and get better, right? And it pushed him to excellence, right? So Larry Holmes later on was the heavyweight champion for 7 years. CNC machining is the same exact way. If you do easy parts and it doesn't force your mind to actually expand, then you're not going to grow. So if you have easy parts, then figure out how to do mighty bite expansion, fixturing and stuff, how to like figure out problems, how to do cell systems, how to like make things happen. And if you do difficult parts, that will expand your mind. And if you're running aluminum all the time, be like, okay, how do I jump up to steel? How do I jump up to titanium? How do I jump up to Inconel? And one thing that I learned, there's a tool for every material. You just got to figure out what that tool is, and then don't pretend to know everything. Humble yourself and go talk to top machinists and say, hey, how do you run this? That's why this group is awesome. How do you run this? How do you run that? How do you do that? You know what I mean? People, I remember being like back in the day, it was like running titanium and stuff like that. Now there's just amazing tools, man. You guys saw me running the Kennametal tool, right? Oh, the zombie. Yeah. So the Harvey 3, but everybody's like, oh, titanium. Fixture it right. Have good work holding. Understand the tooling. Test it out. Get people to let you do a test or something. Test it out. And then get the documentation. How deep are we going? Okay, we have a 3/4. We're going like 2 inches deep, 1.5 deep. We're doing it's a 6 flute. One thing that people don't understand is like everybody's like, oh, I got a 9 flute, I got a 13 flute, I got this. That's all awesome and you can go super fast. But with the added flutes, your radial engagement keeps going smaller, right? So through experience, you just start looking at all the variables. You look at the coolant, you look at the tool, you look at the material, you look at how it's going to move, right? And then you just take that cut, man, and then all of a sudden, we used to be running titanium at 175 surface foot. That's what it says in the machinist handbook. And all of a sudden, you're at 350 surface foot. All right, oh, is it rigid? Well, how much are you taking off? Oh, let's go up to 400, 450, 6 like lighter cuts, right? 600 surface foot, right? Right in that middle. What I like, kind of like my thing with like the Harveys and stuff is just kind of like right in that 350 to 450, chip loads like 0.0052, and then that's just like a good place. And then, that's probably like a 5 to 10% radial, dropping full depth so you get all the things, but basically just playing with it, right? But now I'm just, that's what you got to do. You got to have a love for the game to become an expert. You gotta dissect material. You gotta like talk to people. You gotta make parts through repetition and just make it happen. I talk too much, so let me go to the next one. CNC Experts, yeah. Little small right there.
Daniel from group number 2
Daniel, group number 2.
wants to know a couple things. First, any ideas for outreach? So how to spread the word about the Academy and Academy small groups.
So like Autodesk, there's this guy, Curtis Chan, and I looked at his card and it said like Fusion Evangelist or CAD/CAM Evangelist. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? But that's what we're doing. We're building a network. So to spread the word, you basically got to talk to people. You got to have passion. Passion ignites passion. Passion ignites passion, right? You got to tell people, and you got to understand something like the Academy and the small groups and understand it so well that you can speak it and let people know that this is the future and this is why and this is how the network works and this is how people are training and this is why it's making a difference to the industry, and put it out there. If you are a host, people right now are signing up and they can actually go straight to you. Once we've actually put you on the map, we double check, do you have the machines? Are you legit? Blah, blah, blah. Then when we put you on the map, basically people can contact you directly. We also have a lot of people that are going through our website, and then if you're like in, Central Florida or you're, in California, whatever, we're gonna actually take these guys who've signed up in your area and we're gonna push them over to you with a strict kind of code like, hey, we're sharing somebody's email and their information, so don't let anybody else touch it, but reach out to these guys as potential members for your group. But what's going to happen is as you guys go out and you guys talk about it, as people come in and these groups are going, the groups are amazing. The Academy Small Groups is amazing. As people understand it, everybody's going to get on board. And I'm not going to have enough workers or employees to handle the load, right? Because we are stepping up to actually facilitate all the leaders and give them information, right? We're actually doing a thing in our website where they'll have a portal they can go into and actually talk to me and my team and then watch videos on how to do a class, how to do this, how to do that, right? And we're trying to make it so we can do it one time and hit the mass, right? That's a cool thing. So, but academies are so amazing. So be an evangelist, ask questions, understand truly what the Academy does. What is my philosophy on teaching, and how do we teach engineering from the very beginning of nothing in CAD to having a part in your hand, right? We teach you all of it, but understand it and then go out and sell it. And you can be like John with like a list of people wanting to get into that class, all right? One thing that I want to say too is that we're looking at building blocks is mill, rocket is lathe and stuff, but this is amazing for companies that just need to like have culture, that need to build it up, because these companies that have culture problems, they have passion problems, you take these guys and actually teach them something, they get excited, buzz expands, right? And all of a sudden these guys are actually your next leaders, right? And what we're gonna do, it never happened before, but you're gonna have a trusted person that's being held accountable, a trusted group, right? Titans of CNC Academy with our group with experts all over the world, and basically we're gonna make sure that everything's legit on the highest level. We're gonna ask you to basically troubleshoot it for us, and then we're gonna put out the best content. And if you're a 3-axis machinist, we're going to literally teach you how to run 5-axis. It's gonna take your shop, and you're like, oh, I don't have time for the Academy group. We're gonna take your shop from being a 3-axis to a 5-axis shop, and we're gonna teach you how to get aerospace work. We're gonna teach you how to be competitive. We're gonna teach you how to make it happen. There's something that a lot of people don't talk about. One thing I'll tell you about aerospace, another time I should just have a talk on aerospace. Aerospace is awesome, but be careful because it can put you out of business because the parts are so difficult. It's such a step up for some companies. The paperwork, the documentation, everything that you need to do aerospace work, you know, it is a lot. So you got to make sure you get paid for that. You got to make sure that you don't underbid the jobs because you can get lost in that, right? But if we communicate and you actually understand the bigger picture, you can walk in and you can be successful because guess what? Shops are dropping off these companies like SpaceX and Virgin and stuff. Companies are dropping. They're dropping off because they don't have the experience. They're not hitting the tolerances. And these companies are trying to put rockets in Mars and rockets up here, and then they're having to like trust all these shops, and then many of the shops just cannot do the work. So what do you have to do? You have to up your skill level. You got to understand, have your eyes open, and then you got to go through the process correctly. And don't jump in too hard because it can swallow your company, right? You know, that's one of the things that I'm doing is I've been doing it for so long, and I'm just like, man, there's a whole bunch of football players out there, but you know what? There's no football coaches. So like, let's step up and actually be the coach and actually help people compete so we can bring jobs back and be successful.
Daniel still had a couple other questions, but here's a pretty important one.
Important question from Daniel. Daniel, what's up? Boom.
Would the fundamentals of CNC and other reference materials be available in an editable format so that each shop can customize them to their circumstances?
So Machining Fundamentals book. So this is a book. There's a book up on resources. If you go to our website, you go up to resources, drop down Fundamentals of CNC Machining. That is a book that actually Autodesk actually purchased, and they gave me the rights to basically put it up here so you guys can download it. So, you know, you guys are not able to actually change the book and keep it. That's a copywritten book that's done by Autodesk. But basically how I use it is I actually, when we do tutorials and I'm like, hey, this is how you stone a table. Hey, this is how you indicate a vise. This is how you edge find. It'll pop up a page number so you can listen to me and then you can go read about edge finding, right? So all of a sudden it clicks and then you can follow instructions, all right? So what you guys do as far as like grabbing information and making your own data sheets and your own process sheets and stuff, you guys can do whatever you guys want. You just can't change the book and call it the book by Autodesk, right? I'm not a lawyer, a copyright lawyer, so I'm not going to pretend to be. So, you know, just don't do it.
Nick asks about your opinion on telling someone who's interested in the trade that they might work a lot of nights before working days. Senior work day shifts.
So you have different companies, right? So Nick is asking, you know, people shouldn't, he didn't say this, but he basically said, you might want to mention that some guys walking into the trade might work on the night shift before they get to the day shift, right? It's called paying your dues, okay? So there are companies that run one shift, there's companies that run stack shifts, and like I used to do, but I don't anymore, run 3 shifts. So I used to have like 4 10s, stacked 4 10s, right? And then I did 12, 12, 12 through the weekend, and basically, you know, when you're the leader, I was working all the time and almost lost my company. And I just like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to spend time with my family. I got to like, you know, I got to do what's right and stuff. So I decided I'm never going to work weekends ever. But I'm on the phone talking to you guys. What's up? But so basically what he's saying is that there is a night shift. And a lot of times the way a company will do it is they'll have their best guys on the day shift, right? These guys will actually talk to each other. They'll be talking to management. The structure will be where they talk to management. They go over the production system on, this is like medium companies, right? So, and then all of a sudden they'll set the jobs up. They'll get everything good and they'll set the production schedule for the night shift. So the night shift might not have as many employees as the day shift, but the night shift comes in to run production most of the time, unless it's just a super legit and they just have a lot of talent on both. But they usually come in and actually run production parts, meaning they're like pushing the button, just loading parts, boom, boom, boom. Some shops have programmers on the night shift, so you can make adjustments and changes and stuff like that. But walking into the industry, if you walk into a shop that has 2 shifts, chances are that a lot of times when an opening comes on the day shift, the night guy will actually drop down to the day shift, and then you will go on to the night shift. And that is just part of paying your dues in any company, in any industry. And if it is a good company, and even if you don't want to work on the night shift, I worked on night shift back in the day, right? So do it. Like, if it is a good company, they make a good product, you feel that you can advance your career, you can actually learn from this company, but it has a shift that you're not willing to do, take a chance on actually doing it, but make sure you talk to them and say, how long will it take me to get down to the day shift? How long will it take me to get to the day shift? And they might not have an answer for you, and you have to make a decision with your family, your wife, your kids, like if it's worth it or not to you, right? So a lot of companies, night shift, they drop to day shift. Life is long. Don't always look at something and think that that's forever. Take an opportunity at times to actually get into a good place and work and let people know, communicate and let people know that you need to get on the day shift. And if you're valuable and you solve their problems, they will get you down to that day shift.
This is kind of a two-parter in a way. 2 people participated, and your feedback would be good too. Are there any liability issues that we need to worry about? This is from Zach. And then Michael answered him.
Liability issues from Zach.
And then Michael said, you need to carry enough insurance to cover an incident. Waiver forms are not enough. Dig off here.
Yeah, I think we're good.
If you are teaching on a machine, you should add professional writer to your home policy.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of an insurance. Is there any time that you have a running mill, a robotic system, you have moving parts, you got to understand, like my machines, like you can't open that door when it's running, right? There's a lot of guys out there have machines, and it's working and it's moving and stuff. And like, I've seen big old like horizontals where the back's off and that back piece is just moving. Like, you get stuck in there, you're dead. Like, you're dead, right? So if you're stepping up to be a host group, you have to understand your workplace. You got to understand the process involved. You have to understand that you're bringing people in that don't have a lot of experience. So you have to be a leader, right? You can't be wishy-washy. You have to be a leader. These are the rules right up front. This is the containment area. Here's the yellow tape. We're working on this machine. You are not allowed to go over here. If you need to go over here, you ask me. And if I catch you going down there, you're not going to be in my group, all right? You got to lay down the law. And you need to go through the process. And you need to like be strict about how you handle yourself and how you handle your group, okay? Now, that's just having a group. If you're running a CNC shop and you're actually making products and you're actually making it happen, I would imagine that you have good insurance. And if you don't, you should. You should over-insure yourself. I've put the money out because if something happens, you have to protect yourself. You can lose everything and still have talent and rebuild it. The way that you'll lose everything and not rebuild it is if you don't have proper insurance, something happens, and all of a sudden you're devastated and you're done, and your reputation, everything suffers, right? So the groups is not a problem so long that you have proper insurance and that it allows people to come in and actually be taught by you. I'm not a lawyer, but check with your insurance and make sure that you can actually teach people, have people come in and actually, that if they slip and fell if something happened, that they would be covered in your workspace. Okay? They're not on payroll, but it's a foreign person coming into your company. Make sure you're protected. You think I answered that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So JP had actually said that
JP,
he
France,
works at
yeah.
where they speak French. And
Oh, what's up, baby? JP, like nailing it on all the CAD drawings. Like, that's my boy. I need to go to France, hang out. What's up?
He says he wants to translate them, the small blocks, the building blocks, I think, into French so that the non-English speaker can watch them. And then also, he was just thinking about using live to have his own like classes as well for.
Okay. Okay. So let me be like super clear here. Okay. So JP is talking about actually changing the language so he can actually teach people in his place, right? He lives it's France, right? So. And actually doing videos and doing different things. And there's been a couple people that have actually asked me that, okay? So let me make it very clear. This is something that we came up with. This is something that I spent years and years and years to actually build. And this academy is an academy that we put online for free for everybody. But there is notes in this academy. If you use the academy, you have to give us credit. You can't take my name off our parts, right? And when you're actually learning the videos, you have to go to our academy to actually do it. You can't just take my content. That would be a legal issue, and we do not play with that. You can't take my content and actually take it away from me and almost make it your own content. I know JP's not thinking that, but like I said, being a leader in your shop, you got to set ground rules. That's the biggest thing right here. What we're doing is we're building a network. We're going to change the entire industry. We're taking all these shops, we're bringing them together, and we're taking everybody. We're going to look at Kennametal and all these big companies, and we're going to grab the experts and bring it so we all can rise, in talent, so we can all be successful and be part of this amazing thing, right? So I don't want to see strays like going off. If you're doing your own thing, then come up with your own videos. For JP, if you want to do a video and say this is Titan's video and this is this and this, and I'm actually going to translate it in my own language and show my video, but actually do a translation, I think that I'd probably be good with that. You know what I mean?
He says he understands. We have 1 minute, so if we want to.
We have 1 minute. JP, I'm sorry.
Questions, we can cut and come back.
Actually, I think we're good. All right. I got a big mouth, but I'm passionate about this industry. It is awesome. And now my goals is to help you guys lift up. All right. So we talked enough. I'll see you guys in the group, and we'll do it another time, and we'll get good questions and talk about this industry. All right. So maybe we'll talk about machining next time. Okay. Boom. You guys have a great, blessed weekend, all that good stuff. I'm out.